Welcome. So this post is basically trending on social media, which features this 63-year-old pastor. His name is Dwight Reed, and he has married a teenage daughter of one of his ministers right after her 18th birthday. The church is a Christ Apostolic Temple, and her mother didn't show up at the wedding, which is quite understandable. The pastor said he waited on her for 4 years while counseling her no divorced parents. And they were basically asking for the thoughts. And of course, as expected, a lot of persons went in on this man. When is something going to be done about these pastors? For many years, there has been cause for concern for pastors, priests, a lot of those ministers internationally, which are known to be very immoral in their practices, which is quite ironic since they are used as the standard for morality. But it's very obvious that a lot of these men, they betray that trust, They have used the position that they have been placed in to wreak havoc on homes, on little girls, on little boys. And many parents are aware of these issues, but due to the fact that they trust these pastors so much, they believe in their words so much. You know what they say, believe cure and believe cures. And so sometimes parents might feel like whatever the pastor tells them, that it holds some form of a weight or it holds some form of truth or some validity. Now, in this case, as it says right here, the mother did not attend the wedding, which makes it seem to me that, well, she was not okay with what transpired between her daughter and this old man, which could have been her father 4 times over. When I saw this, I first thought, well, she's 18, an 18-year-old with a 64 or 63-year-old, It sounds bad, but you can't say anything about it at that point because by law, they're saying that, a person is able to make their own decisions at age 18. But if you notice, the man also, the pastor, that is, also stated that he has been grooming her. In America, they call that red shirting. So he has been red shirting her for 4 years, which means he has been watching this girl from a perverted standpoint for 4 years. When she was 14, he was already having impure thoughts. No, at age 14, the pastor was already having impure thoughts about her, which means he could have been also whispering in her ears, telling her things that she should not be hearing for her age, brainwashing her. There is a real thing called brainwash. And so she may have been feeling emotions which were being placed in the wrong place at the time. She may have been interpreting things the way she shouldn't have been interpreting them. And trust me, like pastors, because they are seen as saviors or gateways to heaven, many adults are unable to resist the hypnosis that they're placed under by pastors. So can you imagine someone that is 14 years of age? An impressionable mind. So this does not sit well with me at all. And I think this is a loophole in the law where someone can redshirt a child, then court the child as soon as the child is of age and it goes unscathed, and there are no repercussions. There should be something in place, to send a man to prison if indeed he was redshirting a female, courting her, when she was underage. And then when she's of age now, he feels emboldened to say, hey, I was redshirting her all along. That's like, that's like committing an heinous crime. That is committing an heinous crime. And then in hindsight, you want to say that, well, I did this so many years ago, but it's past the statute of limitations. Situations like this, there should be no statute of limitations on it, just like murder. In the United States, if you kill someone 50 years ago and you are now 100 years old, and you admit to that crime, you can go to jail for it. And I think situations like these should be held in the same regard. There's no way a man should be able to, do certain things to a female when she's underage. And then when she's of age now, you are now emboldened enough to take pictures with her sitting in your lap and saying that you've been watching her for the last 4 years. That does not sit right. And I'm not advocating for anything to be done to this man, but I mean, I think if something were to be done to this man, no one would be apprehensive about it. You know what I mean? Like, you, sir, are one of the lowest scums of the earth. You know what I mean? And I hope this girl will wake up one day and understand that she was robbed of her choice to choose. You know what I mean? She was robbed of her youth. Because a girl like this will never understand what it feels like to be a 14, 16, 17, 18, 20-year-old. She would never understand that level of freedom because she was robbed, you know what I mean, by this wrinkled prick. And it is very sad. I just hope that someone can whisper in her ears, provided that he's not one of those controlling old men, you know what I mean, and can say, hey, remove yourself from that person's presence. There is a whole life, there is a whole world out here to live. Remove yourself from his presence. And parents, like, I cannot emphasize on this more. Be careful on the persons you allow to get in the presence of your children. Be careful. Do not trust anyone but yourself. You know what I mean? I don't even advise mothers to trust fathers around their daughters. You know what I mean? Just like that. Plain and simple. You know, much less trusting your daughter around a male that is not related by blood or any form. You know what I mean? You should be very overprotective of your daughter. And at times, I always say that I hope I don't get a daughter because I'm going to be very overprotective of that child, you know? So just be careful, man. And you, sir, should be ashamed of yourself. And I wish you the worst. I'm out.